Welcome back, you guys. Thanks for coming back. We've got Cindy Lyon-Stubing on the show, Jessy Lyon's mother, and she was just explaining to us before the break about how the onset of this disease affected her daughter, and we left off with her daughter being life-flighted back up to Oregon, and so that's where I want to pick up. So you had been in Sacramento for over a month, or about a month, and then your daughter was flown to OHSU.
Correct.
So take us from there.
Okay. So once we arrived at OHSU, they did more tests on Jessy, and they sent them out to facilities all across the United States, more samples from their lumbar puncture. And then they finally were starting to get some answers. It took about 2 weeks, and they got some more answers back, and that's when they figured out what this was. And there's another group in Philadelphia, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia is where they have a doctor, and he knows more about these cases.
Types of cases, okay.
Yeah, he's worked with some of them. So, and the doctors there at OHSU, we're in contact with him, and we're able to get some information on how to treat this and how are the other people that this, and it's mostly girls, how are the other girls that this has happened to, and what treatments did they go through, how long did it take them, what's their recovery time. And with Jessy, the severity of what she's gone through, there's no one to compare her to. So every day is a new day for her, for us, and where this is going to go, it's going to be good.
Yeah,
it's got to be, because she's come so far.
Yeah,
and
I want to talk a bit. I want to talk a bit about like when she came home and to where she is today. But before we get there, what you said the doctors had explained to you what it was to the best of their understanding of what was going on. What did that bring any solace to you? Did that change anything? Were they able to tell you there's going to, she will recover, or to what level she'll recover? Or any of that? Were they able to give you any of that?
It really, what they told us and what information there is about this, with the 60% of the girls, they find that ovarian teratoma, which is like a tumor. And once they take that out, they recover quite quick. The girls that they don't find that, which is a group that Jessy falls into, there's not much study on. And the results have been pretty negative with those girls. So Jessy has already surpassed and surprised everyone with the recovery that she's made.
Okay. So when did Jessy get to come home?
Yeah, she came home March 1st, 2010.
March 1st, 2010. So from July of 2009 through March 1st of 2010, Jessy, as well as your family, were living in hospitals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she was at OHSU for a month, and then they transferred us over to Legacy Emmanuel. And then we stayed there until March 1st.
Until March 1st. That all started with just supposed to be going on a family vacation to Southern California.
Yes.
Well, what was it like when she came home? I mean, I would imagine your 17-year-old daughter, or I guess she was 17 at the time, bringing her home probably, very self-sufficient and all of these things. I understand she worked at Spooky's, one of the local pizza places, and had a boyfriend and all these things. And now you're bringing her back into that environment, and she's the same individual, but with very different abilities and a much, much higher level of inability to do things. What did that do to your life and your home and your family?
It was pretty hard. It's been a difficult journey for us, but she's getting better. And when we first came home, it was really hard because we had a lot of support, though. We had a full-time nurse, and we had round-the-clock care for her. So that helped, because she just required a lot of attention at that time. And that went on for a couple months. And I'd say within the last 3 months, she has just turned over a whole new page in her book. And I think a lot of it was due to, they brought some CDs for her to listen to. They were like traumatic brain injury CDs.
Now when you say they, the nurses?
Some therapists.
Therapists, okay.
Brought some CDs for Jessy to listen to. And it was, I swear, from that moment that she listened to those, that something was happening in her brain and something connected, because then she was talking more, walking more, understanding more, able to communicate, which was great. That's a big one, because that was so hard for all those months, is she could never communicate with us, you know. And
you could you tell she was trying? There was something she needed to get out, but you just weren't understanding it, or she wasn't even really at that level?
She wasn't at that level.
Okay.
She just was not able to. It didn't look like the thought was there.
Okay.
And then it was about 2 months ago, the first time, where she was like, "Oh, my head hurts." And I mean, we're all just like, "Oh my goodness." You know, she said something hurts when she was able to tell us what was wrong, whereas before we just kind of had to take a guess at it and kind of watch with her eyes and her, you know, her body motions, you know, what was wrong. We had to, you know, kind of make a guess at it to see.
So from March 10th, 2010 until today, what has changed as far as her abilities, the level that she's at? She
has different levels. I don't know if you'd call them cognitive levels, but sometimes she comes through and she can act like a 2-year-old, you know, and then sometimes she comes through and she can be so mature. So it all varies in how, and when she wakes up, her memory isn't very good. So a lot of times when she takes little naps throughout the day, when she wakes up, she thinks it's morning again. So she'll wake up and sometimes she'll say, "Well, good morning," you know.
So yeah. And so she's now 19.
Yes.
And I want to ask you a bit about, when we come back from the break, a bit about the pig bowl. So that's what we'll talk about, you guys, when we come back. We'll be right back.